They are Katrina Pearson and Alexandra Smith. Alexandra, I ended with you. You're a chair of the College Republican National Committee, and you say the president now is making a good start. This was a good idea, rescind this tax disallowance. You want to see more in the debt. Why?
Well, I'm certainly happy that he is rescinding this program. It would have been a terrible loss to those of Americans who have worked hard to save for their colleges and tuitions. But if you look at what his behavior has been like, it's been the most begrudging sort of retraction of this plan. Nancy Pelosi had to fly all the way to Saudi Arabia with the president just to get him to come on board with it.
Well, she didn't say just for that reason, but she did push him, and Chuck Schumer and others did. Do you think, Katrina, that he realized that this was going nowhere fast, or this is just a one-off and don't expect more?
Well, I think he did realize it simply because the majority of these accounts have less than $25,000 in them, which doesn't even cover 1 year of college. But it's interesting, though, Neil, because here we are today, not as we were 10 years ago where we're at a debt of, 8 to 10 trillion. We're looking at doubling that at this point. We're actually in stagflation, not necessarily even a recession anymore, which means cutting and taxing both could hurt the economy equally. So we have to get serious about the debt, and this is just one little piece of the problem.
But, Alexander, when you hear get serious about the debt, you must have heard the President say of the Union, it's not a big deal anymore. As a percentage of GDP, it's small. Deficits are coming down. You say what?
Well, I'd say millennials absolutely disagree with that. I think there's that perception out there that millennials think that the national debt is like monopoly money. They don't. Especially young, independent millennials believe that fixing the national debt is absolutely a priority. They know our generation is going to be paying the price for this.
All right. When they know that, Katrina, is the fear among young people that they're not going to get anything, they're not going to get Social Security, they're not going to get Medicare, or the benefits won't be as generous for them? What are they saying?
Well, I think it's worse than that. Considering we look at the actions of Russia and China, what if China decides to switch over from the dollar to the euro? What would that do to America's economy? I think one true way that a lot of young people want to see happen is auditing the Federal Reserve. The American people have a right to know just how bad the financial crisis is.
I don't know too many young people run by me and say, Neil, we got to audit the Federal Reserve. But they do worry about debt, right? So you're saying, when you look at this, Alexander, that they're saying, they're worried about what the future is going to look like for them. You're paying a bigger chunk of the bill.
They're absolutely worried. I mean, this is the most heavily indebted generation in history, and not just with national debt, but with student debt. $1 trillion in student debt out there. And all the President and Senate Democrats sort of have to propose on it.
Well, what do you think of the free, college thing the president wants to do?
I think it's a misguided attempt by the president to just pander to the generation that rejected him really in the midterm elections. I mean, if you look at our community colleges, they are affordable and they are accessible. What has government ever done right that we now want them to take over, our community colleges in this way?
Katrina, where is this going, you think?
Well, I think that the discussion is going to move forward with the debt issue simply because we are looking at, again, what are we going to do? We can't print money into oblivion. It's not working. And again, what if China decides to leave the dollar and go with the euro? That's instant hardship on every American in this country. And the president is going to have to deal with this issue, particularly going into 2016 when tackling the debt is going to be a top priority on the Republican side of the ticket.
I don't know about that. I hope you're right.